Once you grasp this truth that I'm about to tell you, it'll set you free from religion. It'll set you free from parents and moms and family and governments and police, everybody. It'll set you free. And it's simply this: you are divine. God has exploded in a Crab Nebulae explosion, and he has come and manifested himself as billions of people. And you're one of you, and so am I. When I look at you, I see God. When you look at me, you see God. That's why God's name is I am. I am God. It doesn't mean that me, God. It means I am. When you say I am God, you have to say, what is God's name? I am. What? I am God. Oh my God, then all the people, Christians run around, oh, I told you they think they're God. I don't think anything on the side. No, Jesus Christ said, the scripture says you are God, and the scripture cannot be broken. So he said it. Yeah, like I'm not.
Peace, 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 family. How you all doing? My name is Keisha. I'm the owner of Ascendant Astrology, and I am your astrology coach. Today, I'm going to be discussing Mars conjunct the South Node in Libra. So anytime you have a conjunction, you're talking about two planets coming together like this. Some give it a 5-degree orb, either way on each side. It just really depends. Everybody does it a little different, but this is definitely a conjunction. So we have Mars and Libra conjuncting the South Node in Libra at 24 degrees. And this isn't happening until October 4th, but we are definitely feeling this now, even as of Sunday, if I'm being honest. Um, um, Conjunctions are the strongest transits because two planets come together and it's kind of like they're on the same page. And both planets bring their own special, unique energy to Libra. So it kind of makes that transit stronger. Conjunctions happen once every 18 months. And we have the potential to tap into the past because it's South Node, even falling back into old patterns and habits that perhaps aren't the best for us. And not necessarily, it could be an old project, seeing as Libra's ruled by Venus. It could be an old creative project or something maybe from childhood or interest or desire or pleasure from childhood that you once used to do, but for whatever reason fell out of it due to becoming an adult, like, because that happens. And it can come back. So it's not all bad, it's not all good. It really just depends on what house this is happening in for you, which will be your Libra house, and what other aspects are going on in your chart. So keep that in mind. Sometimes I might emphasize the positive more than the negative, but I always try to make sure that I give out all the themes, whether I'm focusing on all of them or not. Just, use your own discretion for where this is happening for you or how this could be happening for you in your life. Also, always remember you can get a reading. You can check out all my information on my website, or you can get your weekly reading. I actually suggest the weekly readings, although even if you get a weekly reading, you should definitely get a reading first. That allows both of us to get to know each other. I get the chance to know your chart, and you get to see more of what your whole chart brings to you. And then you get to watch it unfold during the weekly readings, which I think is really amazing. And watching my clients have that kind of awakening or just like really understanding is it's been quite an amazing journey. I'm really grateful. But if you want your weekly reading, you can become a Patreon member. And again, all my links are either up here, over here, or in the description box, or you can go on my website. Um, yeah. And so if these aren't old habits or patterns that are coming back up, then we are for sure letting something go. Um, Again, depending on, you know, how this is playing out for you. So pay attention to the tendency to be lazy on a lower expression. Libras are very lazy. Tauruses are very lazy because they're both ruled by Venus. And having a eclipse axis between Libra and Taurus, we could all be feeling this or wanting to kind of just not do anything at all, especially whenever you combine that with the Neptune Pisces, even Saturn in Pisces until it goes direct. We can have that kind of feeling of like, do I have to? Because I'm really too cute. Venus is like, shouldn't you be doing that? Like, don't you see me here looking cute? I don't need you stressing me out right now. Right? And so be mindful of that. And with Mars, it could also be anger, um, Libra's decisiveness, Libra's overindulgence, and Libra's also going to bring out the bad relationship habits. And let me be very clear. Um, I want to try to give at least three examples. So the obvious relationship is between a man and a woman, right? Because you're in a romantic relationship. And seeing as it's Mars, just so that people know, Mars is considered the boyfriend. He's not the husband. He's typically not the person you're going full term with. So keep that in mind that these are probably going to bring up more issues around just casual dating, right? Especially seeing as Venus has been in Leo for 6 months, which is casual dating or casual sex, having fun and just enjoying that experience of what it actually means to date somebody, to get to know somebody. Um, so this could be more geared towards those specific kinds of relationships. But Venus also does rule marriage, courtship, and so this that could also be a part of this relationship piece too, or that you've been dating for a long period of time and now you're thinking about that next level, and there's kind of going to be some shakeups here when it comes to making that decision. A lot of back and forth conversations about making things final when it comes to that next step, whether it's that you both agree you want to get married or engaged, or that you're moving in together now or having a child, or that you are it's not going to work, like it's not working. So that's another way this could be showing up. But then there's also social habits, and how we socialize, how we connect with other friends, networking situations, um and dealing with other people. And I think really more than anything, because of Mars being ruled by Aries, is the self. And poor Scorpio. I know y'all Scorpios, y'all hate when I get on y'all, but that whole inward stuff, I know I think it's gonna come up a lot more now where we're gonna be challenged. If you have people saying like, I want to be by myself, being by myself is considered being free, and it's true happiness. And let me make myself very clear. Those things are very real, right? Especially if you're going through some kind of healing and learning yourself on that deeper level, you have to Scorpio it, right? It has to be internal. You have to cut people off. You cannot have other people in your energy, because then you can it's easy to get confused about what you're healing about you, right? That's called the dark night of the soul. It's a very real process. It's a very necessary process. It's not meant to be forever. Okay. It's just not. Like, we have to understand, in order to build anything, in order to change, we need people to do that. We need people to connect to do that. We need people to come together to do that. to have intelligent conversations about what it is we want to build, how we're going to go about doing that, who's responsible for what. Otherwise, I'm telling you right now, you will not change or evolve. There needs to be Mars, some kind of action towards coming together. This could also be alone together, being in a relationship with somebody where it's so deep and it's such a deep spiritual process or relationship that you can be with them, but you don't have to say anything. I know people know what I'm talking about. Like everybody has had that at least once in their life. I've been lucky enough to have it several times, mostly with Aquarius men. They're amazing that way. But we speak telepathically, right? That's a spiritual connection, that's a soul connection. It's something that you're with somebody, and it's not to say that you're not necessarily doing anything, just because to other people it might not look like that, or it's very silent or unspoken. Something's happening there, right? But just to make it very clear, when you start looking at astrology from the general perspective, we are going to have to talk to one another. And it starts to come out and not be like, um, I need to be by myself. Being by myself is true freedom and happiness, to using boundaries or saying, I'm going to connect with others if they are aligned with this mission, this purpose, um, me and what I want and my needs. And Libra's going to say, okay, but you also have to listen to others and making sure you're giving that back. And so there are questions that you can ask. Um, there are other things that you can do to make sure that only certain people have access to you. But if you're somebody who's consistently throwing out in the universe that you need to be alone, you want to be alone, you can't connect with others because you can't trust others, I'm telling you right now, you have a problem and you need to get help so that you can get to some positive ways of how to let people in and how to speak about that. Um, and really question whether or not you're actually healing, right? Because that process isn't meant to be forever. It should be gradually over time that you change and transform into more positive ways of connecting with other people. And I'm saying that because Pluto's going to be in Aquarius. It already has been. It's still in Capricorn at this time. It won't go into Aquarius until next year, January. But I need you to be very clear that Pluto in Aquarius is going to challenge you to connect with other people. Okay, Aquarius is in a very social sign. And then we're going to have Gemini and Jupiter, which is going to expand the social air energy. And then you have South Node, Libra. You are going to be challenged to learn how to connect with other people on a social level, not just with relationships. In fact, I don't think relationships are even going to be the most important part first, because Aries is in the North Node and Aries is all about the South. You need to question your personal space and quiet time. How long have you been doing that? Is it still necessary? Is it healthy? Are you actually healing? Because there's a problem there. And so if you're wondering why I'm talking about Scorpio, let me be clear. Mars rules both Aries and it's the ancient ruler of Scorpio. We're coming up to Scorpio season and Pluto is about to go direct. And so when you mix all that stuff together, this is just telling you what's to come, right? This is how you measure or be intentional with how you're setting your goals when you understand how astrology works, right? So keep that in mind. The third thing is it can be not a person, place, or thing or relationship, but a thing, sorry, not a person. It could even be a place too, by the way. It could be work where you spend most of your time. It can be um your cell phone, your relationship with your cell phone. Are those things healthy? Your relationship with your work and how you work, or any creative projects that you have. Is it a healthy relationship that you have? What is your thought process around those things, and whether or not that needs to be changed or transformed in some kind of way? So it's not just relationship to people, it can be places and things as well. And so I hope that that makes sense. But you can use this time to work on releasing these bad habits around these themes. Um, I think Aries and Libra are going to feel this the most, but also the cardinal signs are going to feel this. So that's Aries, Libra, Cancer, and Capricorn, as well as Scorpio, again, because both Pluto's going direct and on the 4th, actually, the same day, if I'm not, no, Pluto goes direct on the 10th. Forget what I just said. Pluto goes direct and Capricorn on the 10th. And again, Mars is also rules Scorpio. So Scorpio season comes up next. And so it's just getting ready to rev up very clearly. Some of these scorpionic themes are going to become a lot stronger, right? So Scorpios will start to feel this as well. And then the 24 degrees is a Pisces degree. So I had mentioned earlier that being lazy is going to be a real problem. And the fact that 24 degrees, which is the degree of this transit, is at a Pisces degree. Again, I think the ability for us to fall back into older unhealthy patterns is more likely if we are not intentional and strong. It's gonna have to be real strong because I feel like we just might be like, fuck it, man. Like, fuck it. I don't see the work that I'm doing. I don't understand why this isn't working. I've done a lot of work, and honestly, it might just not be true because Pisces is very deceptive energy. It's an illusion. You can have rose-colored glasses on, and you just might not be seeing things for what they really are, right? And so be mindful of your feelings and emotions as they come up around this time because it just might not be true. And so you're going to have to really fight through those kinds of feelings, but also making sure that you take time to rest, relax, retreat, and do something for yourself. And so Pisces themes can be deception, poisoning. We can start to hear a lot of news and things, especially in relationships that are unhealthy, even food and situations around food and eating, because Libras are desires, and it could be a desire to eat. Again, we're at the Taurus Libra axis with this eclipse, so it could be food that we're learning that's not so good for us, that's causing some kind of health problem. So I wouldn't doubt that we see more stuff on the news around poisonings, things that are unclear, fake things, illusions, glasses, mirrors, criminals, again, going back to poisoning. And Pisces is a feminine energy, so it would be natural for the type of criminal activity that takes place. It's something that a woman would do, which is a little bit more submissive or passive, as opposed to something more active or uh, strenuous or male-like, like a murder, a killing, or stabbing, or something like that. Um, so we could hear a lot of stuff coming out, drownings. I'm not wishing that on anybody. I hope something like that doesn't happen, but it could. Because Pisces rules swimming, water, big um like uh places of water like oceans, ponds, waterfalls. This could be about boat cruises and poisonings of something or a health pandemic or epidemic on a boat or something like that. We can hear something around that on the news or eating fish, Pisces rules fish. Um, and yeah, this could be disguises too of all kinds. This could be people wearing masks and not showing their true selves and ghosting and uh, going missing and uh, you know, uh, making empty promises or even like enablers. Um, but it could also be like masquerades, parties and masks and things of that nature. Or again, people who wear glasses or things on masks on their face, things of that nature. This could be drugs, alcohol. If you are somebody who's in AA, don't be so hard on yourself. I really don't like telling people like not to take things seriously, but I also think that it's going to be really hard to fight if I'm being honest. So again, if you're not proactive and you're not getting ahead of this and having like um an AA meeting already set up for you to start going to or attend to, because again, you could have been feeling this heavy as of Sunday, right? And so having something in place that's going to help you with your addiction, any kind of addictions too. I'm just saying drugs and alcohol, but this could be any kind of addiction, sex addiction, whatever. And so being mindful, to kind of have something in place. And if it's something that's like not as serious as AA, where you have to be worried about, um, um, what is it called when when you start drinking again? I don't remember the name for whatever reason. It's like, but if it's something that's not as serious, like somebody who stopped smoking, and I'll use myself as an example. I haven't smoked cigarettes since for 7 years now, right? My son just turned 7, and I stopped when I was pregnant with him. And I want to say those Mars Neptune squares. So anytime last year, like the urge to want to pick up a cigarette got really strong. I couldn't fight it. So I got the vape and I started vaping. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I think I did well. I'm not overdoing it. I mean, I'm not a over excessive smoker anyways. I'm a very in the closet smoker, so I only do it like when I'm at home, whatever, but I'm at home a lot. And so I stopped. I was like, you know what? I don't like the way this is making. I didn't like the fact that I started to realize that I didn't have control over it anymore. And I was just kind of like enjoying being able to smoke, right? And so I stopped, but I'm telling you right now, with Libra being in the South Node, me being a Libra rising, this is happening in my first house. I can feel it again, like that strong feeling to want to smoke, and I don't care. And so in this case, I would say feed into the addiction, but have structured times, give yourself some kind of limitation. And it's not about um, encouraging people to do something wrong, but I think if you fight this, you may not figure out what it is that's really going on underneath the surface. I would even say get some counseling and ask questions so you know what questions you need to be asking about why this kind of thing is coming up so bad, right? Addressing the issue. um, I just feel like if you fight it, it could turn into, with Mars being a big player here, there's a Mars full moon tomorrow, that there can be deeper rooted issues that boil up from this that are there can be way worse than it needs to be, if that makes sense at all. Like the way this can come up or activate or show up, with the full moon and Aries and all these eclipses. I wouldn't fight your urges. I would attend to them, but with the intention of asking, what is this really about? Or making sure that you're doing it enough just to find out what is really going on or to release. Maybe working out is another option. Um, I'm not a professional. I just know that holding this in could cause more problems than doing it the opposite way. And so be mindful of that. This could also be fogginess, again, lack of clarity, not seeing things clear, oil, because Mars in Libra is the war, peace and war axis. You can bet your bottom dollar, especially with fucking Taurus wrapping up its cycle from the eclipse of Scorpio and Taurus and Pluto going direct and Pluto being in that 29th degree. I want to be positive, but the way my anger has been boiling up for no fucking reason at all, I'm not gonna lie. I think on a global scale, there could be some threats of war. Um, or you can see them kind of going back and forth about whether or not we need to go to war or we're gonna have peace. And it might be a close call. I'm not gonna lie. We might have more luck with the Taurus eclipse, but between now and that Libra energy, I don't know if we can make it. I mean, I don't know. And if it's not an actual war, there can be an uproar in legal conversations and debates about money, Taurus themes, money, security, stability, resources. Yeah, I'm kind of ambivalent about it. Obviously, I don't want to wish those things on anybody, but be forewarned that the energy and the possibility is there very strong. Again, things that go missing, rains, floods. So this could be storms, something that's out of focus, foreigners. There's been a huge problems with foreigners, that with Biden, if you've been watching, I haven't. I just so happened to be talking to a coworker at work today, and she's Venezuelan, and she's obviously paying close attention to this and knows way more than I do. And she's telling me about her job and her responsibilities and how she's like, um, it was very interesting that she mentioned she didn't like the way Biden was going about things, which I found very interesting. I don't normally find foreigners to disagree with the politics. And she also said something that was very interesting, like, oh, um, I don't think that it's right that Biden's putting foreigners before the people here in America, where there are a lot of people losing their houses and going through problems that need to be resolved first, and then they should be taking care of the foreigners. And I was very impressed with that because I don't watch TV, so I'm like so clueless sometimes. I mean, I'll see the things when I'm scrolling through YouTube or whatever, but I never really stop and listen to the full videos because I kind of think that this country's going to do what they want anyway. So really, like, what's the point of me listening to it? It's just how I feel. But Libra is a very political sign. It rules law, legal issues, the justice system. And I do think that we're going to see some issues that are going to come up around this topic for sure. This is also painters, crying, shoes, Pisces rules the feet, sleep. You could have trouble sleeping, or hiding, things that are hidden. And so this could be this could be everything to do with toxic relationships, not having clarity in relationships, things that have been hidden are coming to light. A lot of people are more open to share their feelings and be vulnerable, or share their feelings about where they've been hurt on the positive side of this. But I still think that this is going to lead to people being more angry or projecting on others the more they realize how much they've held back or how much Libra, were passive, didn't want to, make problems. And so people pleasing and just letting things slide, pushing things under the rug, forget about it. Just to be in a relationship, or maybe because of some contract that you have, or because they were filling some kind of void. Um, I think once it hits people and the truth comes to light, when you actually address these things, I think I think it's gonna cause a lot of problems. I do. I really, really do. And you know, be be prepared, on how you want to deal with those things moving forward. Especially because Venus, Libra rules your enemies, the ones who sit up under your face and pretend like they like you. Be very clear that Pisces rules hidden enemies. And so there could be a mixture of both of these energies kind of coming up that is just, this has the potential to be extremely volatile. And I'm not trying to say that to scare anybody. I'm really trying to prepare you. Get active, get in your body, work out, whatever it is you do to release, talk to somebody, educate yourself on the areas that you are frustrated with. Read about those things. It's going to be more helpful than to try to hold these things back. I think they can have the potential to come out like word vomit. We're talking about Mars here. Fighting words, very nasty and disrespectful, especially with Pisces here on the lower vibration. These people are hurt. Um, they want to be normal, but don't want to get help. These are bottom feeders, low vibing fruit, um, crabs in a barrel, people who are stuck in a repeated pattern and have absolutely no clue on how to get out of them. And I'm not talking about people, but these are real life succubus, vampires, energy feeders that you could have around you that you are going to start to learn about and see. They are going to start to learn about it and see, even if you're not. But because they don't know how to deal with it, that's how they could be very nasty. Okay, it could be very nasty. It has the potential to be very nasty. So be prepared, stand your ground, and get some protection, spiritual protection. Yeah, if you need actual protection, that too. But yeah. So Mars rules men, military, again, war can be a theme, cutting, actual cutting, like with a knife, burning or cutting, like severing something, like letting go of something, burning. That could actually be a spiritual practice that you use intentionally to burn away negative energy or habits, or whatever it is that you're trying to cut off or cut away. Burning, arguing, fighting, war, passion, desire, and motives. Really, if you are trying to get into a relationship at this time, I would highly question people's motives right now. This is not the energy that I would suggest anybody get into a relationship under. I also wouldn't dismiss it, but you need to be asking the right questions, making sure your boundaries are strong and stern. And again, you know your sign symbols and synchronicities, like pay attention to people's behaviors and patterns. um but again, because Mars is not strong in Libra, this could also be feeling like relationships have less power, whether it's over you or just in general. It really just depends on where you're at. I also think connecting on some kind of level could be feeling like If they show up, they show up. If they don't, they don't, right? Um, um, uh, less likely to want to fight, less likely to be the bigger person, but um, this can allow us to reflect on the things that are not working in our life. And we're really going to be focusing on healing wounds and working on the self. So big mirror energy, I think. Um, People are going to have some kind of serious awakening on a soul level, especially the closer we get to Scorpio season, because Scorpio is my bullshit meter, and the more we get into that that energy, the more Scorpio is going to be like, no, I need you to look at yourself in the mirror right now and ask yourself, um, if somebody was doing to you what you just did, would you want to be around them? I'm just saying, and that can be very intense and uncomfortable. And then the South Node represents what we have, what we've already mastered, what we need to release and move away from in order to get to this new stuff. I do think this first 6 months is going to have a lot more to do with releasing than growing anything new. Um, this is definitely about karmic relationships. I think I talked about that in the Mars video, or I did the Libra South Node video. I think I mixed the two together. I might separate them. I'm working on doing some research for that because I have a specific niche that I want to cover, and I want to have some kind of like documents when I speak about this. And so I don't know yet. I'm still kind of like ambivalent. Um, Mars is still in shadow. I mean, it's technically over by this weekend, but still, my energy is extremely low. And so I'm like very like fickle. Like sometimes I'm excited, my energy is hype and I'm ready to go. And other times I'm like, bitch, don't come over here. So I don't know, but I'm working on something. We'll see. But karmic relationships, um, I don't really like getting into the whole twin flames and soulmates and those kinds of conversations there, but this theme is going to be heavy at this time. You can have people coming back again from your childhood, whether it's to close out a cycle, they have a message or a gift to give you. Remember, gifts can be in any kind of way. Gifts can be an actual gift or a hug, words of inspiration, somebody who's coming in to help you see the beauty in you, like um, closure, something that you've been waiting for to help you close and end out a toxic cycle, so that you can truly and fully heal from something. Um, this could be issues around men, trusting men, um, being able to be vulnerable and just pleasure without sex. Um, Very intimate. This could be like so many different things that are backed up and clogged up when it comes to what's keeping you from having healthy relationships, that it's gonna be this is gonna be deep. I was even thinking about doing a tarot reading. I'll pull some cards and see what comes out, but I think this energy, on the one hand, it's gonna be tough because it's gonna be heavy, but on the off swing to that, the come up, the phoenix rising energy of this all, like straight queendom energy, is going to be absolutely fucking phenomenal. And it's going to be worth all the headaches, even though it's like, damn, it had to be 20 years. Like, really, bitch? And we'll have some frustration about that for sure. But at the same time, we gonna be fucking skipping and hopping around this bitch. Like, finally, we can have some forward movement with some real healing around how we relate to people. Um, so I guess another way to say that is karmic relationships are not always bad. Um, they can help you grow, or again, it could be trauma drama, right? Trauma bonding, right? Um, yeah. This can bring out your inner artist, your social activist, especially Mars and Libra is a social activist. They're gonna be at all them damn all them damn how do you call it? Things protested and shit. Like, oof, this could be around legal stuff. And I don't know why, for some reason, I have a feeling that this is going to be around food. I keep seeing things around food and meat being made by humans. I usually pay attention to signs and symbols and things of what I see that come in pairs of three. And I've already seen three messages around them making human meat for us to eat. That's fucking disgusting, first of all. Second of all, I try not to get too taken over by, what's in mainstream media, because trust me, they feed off of that energy and they use it to manifest and make those things real. If more people ignored them and didn't give them any energy, I would love to see, or love other people to see, how much that shit is irrelevant. They just use that to get us all riled up because they're in the back somewhere doing something else that they don't want us to know about. And then you hear about it 6 months, 2 years, 3 years later, right? But yeah. These are your counselors, coaches, guides, astrologers, that help you grow and help you build conflict resolution skills. So overall, I think this entire transit, this is a shorter to the longer south node and north node energies, but you start to get a taste of what the south node and Libra is going to be working with us on over this duration of time. So frustrating at first, but come that next 6 months, we'll get a little bit more reprieve. I still think it's going to be a bitch because it's an 18-year transit. And so we got time to work through this, but for the most part, pretty fucking dope. I like it. I like it a lot. As usual, family, I love and appreciate you. I hope you found this information helpful. Peace.